Hey, what's happening, everybody? Rod J back again to take a look at another beer. Thanks for swinging by to check out another video. Tonight I'm going to take a look at one out of Belgium, and this is the Maredsous 6 Degree Blonde. So I have not had this one before, but it is from Abbaye de Maredsous, which is a microbrewery over there in Belgium. Comes in at 6% ABV. This bottle right here, 1 pint, 9.4 ounces, as you can see, so a pretty big bottle. On the back, it makes mention Maredsous Blonde is a delectable Belgian blonde with light fruitiness, soft maltin, and dry, gentle hop finish. Brewed following Benedictine tradition under the supervision of the Abbaye de Maredsous, this fine ale has been bottle fermented and aged for 2 months. And it says to serve best between 42 to 50 degrees. Now, this is actually a vintage version. This is back from 2011, so this is actually a 5-year-old bottle of this. Was not aware when I picked it up, but I am seeing people drink this online and having some pretty good experiences from it being conditioned over that period of time. So hopefully everything falls in line with this one as well. But it does have like a date down the bottom down there as well where it said 2011. So that's where I knew it was the 2011 edition. So we'll see how it goes. If anything, we'll check it out to see how it does age. But looking forward to checking out the Belgian. And for this, I'm actually going to use my left glass, which is my chalice. I don't use it as much, but I'm going to use this to actually put the beer in. Let's go ahead and get it open and get it into it. Now, for being something that's aged 5 years, it did have a lot of smoke come out, which is nice. So it might have been okay. Now, in the bottle, I don't think you can pick it up on camera. Yeah, it's too dark, but I can actually see some of the fragments from the bottle conditioning. So it is not too heavily sizable pieces, but you do notice that in there. Looking into the beer here, see if I see anything. I can pick up maybe a little couple specks in there, but nothing really too much. You can see how dark of a color it is, so it's really down on the bottom. If it shines in there a little bit, looks like you can't really get it from this angle, but I can pick up a few specks there. Nothing really too offsetting off-putting about those. Everything else kind of looks like you'd expect with a Belgian ale. Now, on this one, the head has dissipated already down. Came out just under a finger, and it's kind of a quarter of a finger now, which isn't too uncommon for a lot of the Belgian ales. So, just something to be aware of there. But it was a pretty much just barely off-white type head that came out. And the color of it has a nice, deep, dark amber color. Almost going from that orange type color to a brown. Get it to the light, and you're still not getting a lot of stuff to come through. It's almost got like a color that's very caramelish or caramellish, depending on where you're from and how you say it. But it's got a decent look to it. Nothing really wrong with it there as far as the aroma. It's got a nice sweetness to it coming off of the fruit type scents. Really comes out of the glass very easily. Gets up into the nose, and you can just pick everything up from it. Now, they talk about it having also like a gentle dry hop finish, but with this being out as long as it's been, I'm getting more of that sweetness from the malts right now. But I am surprised at how good that fruitiness is still actually kicking there. And in the background, I pick up kind of like some sweetness, kind of reminiscent of like a brown sugar, molasses, things along those lines. So a little interesting taking place. Go ahead and check the taste. Wow. So it definitely still has this flavor kicking, but the flavors all around it are still pretty much lively. And it'd be nice to maybe catch it when it's a little more fresher to see how, if it's supposed to be as thin as it is. But outside of that, it really doesn't miss on a lot of the other marks. Slight bitterness on the initial, goes down easy on the back end, has a nice refreshing quality to it. It's got a nice crisp break going from that initial to that finish. And carbonation actually is sitting final here, not too overly carbonated. Comes off nicely from the tongue and gets around the mouth very easily. At this point, like I said, that wine presence is even there in the taste. So for me, it's kind of having almost towards a Chardonnay or a white, one of the white wine type flavors. Not as dry as a Chardonnay. It's got some wateriness in the texture, but it kind of goes along that way as it starts out initially. And the more I'm drinking it now, the more I'm picking up more of the bitterness on the tongue. So as it's warming up a little bit more, it's actually bringing out some of that attribute as mentioned on the information about it, which I'll put down in the description. It talks about that having that type of bitterness, but the flavor on it is pretty good. I would say it's got a nice lively mouthfeel. It comes in as a medium body on this one here, and the duration on it is really great, average to long. So even with this being a 5-year vintage, the flavors are still floating around nicely, and this one is still in pretty good shape. So they took pretty good care as far as cellaring this beer. A lot of times you hear beer, you want a cellar to be at least 8% ABV or so. This one's at 6, but it's still coming through pretty decent. But you know what? Those monks know how to make beer, so I rarely ever back away from trying a Belgian ale just because I know when done right, those things are terrific beers and they do last for a period of time. But yeah, this one, like I said, this is actually out of Belgium, as I mentioned, and it is again the Maredsous 6 Degree Blonde Abbaye de Maredsous. And this was just one I happened to see at one of my places, decided to pick it up and give it a go. But yeah, pretty pleasant overall. If you happen to see it, you're a Belgian fan, I would say definitely give it a try. Now they have this one as a 6 degree. They also have some that are 8 degree. And then I think, was there one that was a 10 degree? And I say degrees, but that's what they're kind of putting on here. But the degree is actually their ABV percentage. But definitely worth it. But thanks again for swinging by to check out another video. Hopefully you like what you saw there. And I appreciate the time. I look forward to catching you on the next one. And as always, keep drinking good craft beers. Cheers.